Press hockey coverage with Jim Biringer.
Hello, everyone. This is Jim Biringer here, Full Press NHL. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below. We got a jam-packed rumors segment here for you. We got a lot of news off the top. You saw our shorts about Quinn, Hughes, and Kirill Kaprizov, and that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with Kirill, the Thrill Kaprizov, Kirill dollar bill Kaprizov in the Minnesota. New report out, Frank Saravalli has said that he's denied an 8-year deal, $128 million, $16 million AAV. Talked about it on TSN Radio in Montreal throughout the summer, written it not only for Full Press Media, Full Press NHL, but it's for NHLRumors.com as well, talking about he was going to get more than Leon Draisaitl. Leon Draisaitl makes $14 million a year with the Edmonton Oilers. We know Connor McDavid is due for an extension as well. Kaprizov was eligible for an extension July 1st, 2025. They have yet to come to an agreement. Craig Leopold, the owner, Bill Guerin, the general manager, negotiating 101, stated, we're going to give him whatever he wants. Well, now all the leverage is with Kaprizov. He can deny any deal he wants until he gets what he wants. Now, there are a lot of other factors in this. Does he want to go short term? I've stated numerous times that I think it's going to be a 4 or 5 year deal. I think when Bill Guerin tried to get him the first time, Minnesota tried to lock him up. They allowed him to set the tone at a 5-year deal, and they didn't lock him up for 8 years. Now they're trying to get 8 years out of him. Second thing is does he want to be there for 8 years? Does he only want to? He probably wants to see this direction of this team has been reported all summer. Are they just a consistent first-round team and out, or do they make a deep run? Does he have other motivation? Does he want to go someplace else? You know, good buddies with Artemi Panarin. You know what Panarin did. He was in Chicago, found his way to Columbus, then to New York. Like, he probably would have stayed in Chicago, big market, if the Blackhawks were able to keep everybody. But he wanted to leave. Does Kaprizov want to leave Minnesota? And if he does want to leave Minnesota, now we got to start the wheels in motion of trying to get this guy traded. The owner come out and said they think they were close. Things were there. You know, he thought it was right there. But apparently it's not right there. If a player like Kaprizov is, you know, turning down $16 million a season, it's most likely it's not there. And again, we mentioned Connor McDavid. These two guys are tied because, again, the owner said it's going to be the biggest NHL history. Well, if Connor signs for 16 or 16.5, that means Kaprizov wants more. But is he worth more? Kaprizov is a blank check guy for the Minnesota Wild, but he might not be a blank check guy for the rest of the teams in the NHL. And if he goes to other teams in the NHL, the starting point's Mikko Rantanen and Mitch Marner at 8 times 12. It's not Draisaitl because he's not going to get that money from any place else. And maybe he's okay with it if he wants to win. So it's a situation worth watching. Again, could he go short-term deal here, put the pressure on Minnesota similar to what Connor could do at Edmonton? Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, a 3, 4, 5-year deal is exactly what they need to do in terms of Kaprizov, Minnesota. Money might not be the issue. Could be, does he want to be there? Does he think this team can win? You know, he was a Hart Trophy candidate last year. If he didn't get hurt, probably would have won. Let's see what happens with Kaprizov and the Minnesota Wild. But it's a story and a development as we get the NHL season underway, training camps. Again, he's still on a contract. He can sign it anytime he wants. This thing's probably going to drag out a little further than the people hoped in Minnesota. But as mentioned on Rod Peterson's show on Monday, everybody's crazy about 97 in Edmonton. But this is the 97 you should be watching for. There should be panic and anxiety and worriness here because they don't know what he's going to do. Because like I said, Edmonton, look, we'll touch on it real quick. Connor McDavid, everybody's just got pumped the brakes, relaxed a little bit. Again, he wants to win in Edmonton. He's talked about, be a fair price for himself. He understands there's a salary cap. He's got to find a balancing act that works for him and the team. And again, seen reports out there, probably the NHLPA is probably in his ear a little bit saying, hey, you're the best player in the world. You should be able to set the market and you should show the world, hey, yeah, this is what the best players should get because we see it in other sports. The issue is a balancing act. Edmonton wants to win, but now they have all these big money contracts that are kicking in and the cap's going to go up. What does McDavid do? But he's going to sign. It's probably not going to be 8 years like his buddy Leon Draisaitl did. It's probably going to be a 3, 4, 5-year deal too. Everybody's going to start going that Austin Matthews route because if the cap continues to go up, everybody can kind of hit it big again. And I think that's what players are looking at. They're not dummies. But everybody got pumped the brakes, relax. What he's saying, there shouldn't be panic in the street. And there isn't panic in the street in Edmonton. If the Edmonton media, the Western media, isn't making a big deal about this. But apparently everybody in the Eastern media is. It's like, oh, he's going to leave. Where's he going to go? He's planning his... Until the guy says he doesn't want to be there, he wants to be there. Which brings me to Quinn Hughes and the Vancouver Canucks. Again, we know what Jim Rutherford said. It's like, oh, maybe we could bring these guys here. You know, they want to play together. Again, link above with Rob Simpson's interview. But Jack Hughes kind of poured cold water on it, saying, yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to play with your brother, right? But again, everybody has a contract here. So it's not like he can just up and say whatever he wants. Yeah, it would be cool for them to play together. But he understands Quinn's focused on Vancouver. And when Quinn Hughes was asked about it at the NHLPA Media Tour, he was like, yeah, what is my brother supposed to say? He doesn't want to play with... Like, you guys have brothers too. Like, if you guys have brothers, you would want to play with your brothers. But he's focused on Vancouver and wants to help Vancouver get back in the playoffs. And as Full Press Hockey has been documenting, this is a calm and cool situation out in Vancouver. Quinn Hughes is yet to make a decision. He hasn't told anybody anything. And until he does, he's not leaving. And everybody on the Eastern side here, it's Toronto, Montreal media, everybody is going to blow it out of proportion, say, oh, he's leaving, pack his bags. He hasn't packed his bags yet. He's the only one that can. Right? It's a similar situation with Sidney Crosby in Pittsburgh. Yeah, Pat Brisant finally said, you know, the thing that everybody was hoping for, because all the rumors and reports out there about Crosby potentially leaving, trading. Why would he stay in Pittsburgh? They're just going to keep losing. Why did he sign his extension? He should go play with Nate McKinnon in Colorado. You know, we heard the cheers at the Four Nations at the Bell Center. You know, he idolized and grew up watching the Montreal Canadiens. He even said, oh, it's great that, you know, a fan base like that wants you. Pat Brisant, his agent, said, oh, there's a possibility, you know. But again, it's all on Sidney Crosby. He holds all the cards. Quinn Hughes holds all the cards in Vancouver. Until he tells the Vancouver Canucks what he wants to do, he's not going anywhere. Got to let the season play out first. Everybody's got to pump the brakes on that stuff when it comes to Quinn Hughes, Vancouver. Is he going to play in New Jersey? Where's he going to go? Maybe he doesn't even want to go to New Jersey. Maybe he doesn't even see New Jersey as a team that could win. As much as he wants to play with his brothers, he wants to win. That's what he wants to do. Maybe he stays in Vancouver. What if Vancouver has a good season? He's going to stay there. Similar with Crosby. Got to get to the trade deadline and find out. His new extension just kicks in this year. Let's see things play out. And what if Mario's group comes in, rebuys the Penguins? Is he going to leave? Mario was his idol. Mario played for one team. Steve Yzerman played for one team during some lean years too. So, again, situations to watch with those characters, those players, because they've been the talk of the NHLPA Media Tour out in Vegas. Now Kirill Kaprizov is one too. Let's go around the league real quick. Back to New Jersey. Luke Hughes, there's still confidence that this deal is going to get done. Again, there's reports out there about a 5-year deal. He wants to line up with his brothers. Jack Hughes kind of put that to bed and said, you know, that's kind of hockey talk. You know, people are going to stand by their reports. I stand by what I've been told about, you know, a 7-year deal, an 8-year deal at $7.75 million, $7.75 million a season. The Devils don't want to go over $8 million. They can't. And I've also been told, multiple sources have told me, Dougie Hamilton's not getting traded. The Devils want to compete this season. They want to go far, and they have a high standard. As sources told me, do they want to relive a couple of years ago when they got rid of veteran defensemen and took a step back? Do you really want to rely on two 35-year-old goaltenders to rely on those guys to get you into the playoffs with your defense weak? What is Simone Nemec? What is Seamus Casey? There's no Jonathan Kovacevic. There's a lot of moving pieces here for the Devils. Luke Hughes is going to get done. There's a lot of confidence in it. His brother Jack's confidence is going to get done. It's either a bridge deal or it's a long-term deal. There's no in between for both sides. Deadlines make deals. Veterans report next week. I would be shocked if there isn't something done. We saw Connor Zary just sign a deal with the Calgary Flames. They know he needs to be in camp. We saw Dustin Wolf sign a new extension, 7 years, 7.5 million. Again, he could have probably got a little bit more. They're betting on the future. Again, Calgary, messages being sent. Guys want to be there. Guys want to stay. There was a lot of, messages in the past when Gaudreau left and Kachuk left. Americans don't want to be in Calgary. A couple of American boys, Coronado, Dustin Wolf, they kind of said, hey, you know what? We're staying. And a lot of guys have signed some long-term deals there. Rasmus Anderson's another player. He kind of stifled the trade talk when he said, I'm focused on winning here. I want to help Calgary this season. My focus is on this season. When he was asked about a specific team, one team he would only go to, there was a report he would only go to the Vegas Golden Knights, not the Vancouver Canucks. But he had been tied to the Vancouver Canucks as well. And why wouldn't you get a right-handed shot like that? But the main report was about the Vegas Golden Knights, and he was only going to go there. He was only going to sign there. Well, Vegas doesn't have a lot of options with money. What assets would Calgary want from Vegas? They got to build towards the future, and they need to sign Jack Eichel to an extension. Again, why would Rasmus Anderson handcuff GM Craig Conroy into that situation when he's a wanted man around the league? Right shot defenseman, can eat a lot of minutes, first, second unit guy. And again, he could stay. There's a lot of guys that we've thought have been walked out the door, and everybody's done it. Guilty as charged, walked them out the door, and they ended up staying. And as a reporter for RG Media, with the cap going up, teams may want to keep their own players now, and there may not be a lot of movement because they trust what they have. They see what they have, and there's not a lot of unknowns. They know who that player is. So something that keep an eye on there with the Calgary Flames. Mason McTavish in Anaheim. Again, talked with some people about this. Why isn't it done? Because if it was truly the Ducks really wanted to get a long-term deal done, this would be done, right? Let's be honest, this would be done if they want to go the long-term. Mason McTavish is not sold on a coach. He's uncertain about his role with this team. We know this coach likes to play heavy veterans all the time. This is a young group still. I know Pat Verbeek, the GM, says this team can make the playoffs this year. That was a 20-point jump they had last year. You can't do it again this year. They're going to take a step back. That division is tough. Calgary's still pushing. Vancouver, Vegas, LA, Edmonton's still there. So it's going to be tough, not to mention the Central. Again, is it about the young guys trying to look and cash in every other contract? Similar to what Luke Hughes, similar to what we see with, the guys like Kaprizov, like Matthews. Marner didn't do it. Nylander didn't do it, but Nylander held out to the last possible point before he got his deal. If guys are really strong about that, it affects their season. Anaheim needs Mason McTavish there. He's second-line center. Behind them, Ryan Strome. Leo Carlson's the top guy. Yeah, we understand they have a lot of guys coming. Jackson Lacombe, Leo Carlson need new extensions. But if they wanted McTavish on a long-term deal, you think it would be done already, right? You thought it, because all we've heard is Pat Verbeek's a grinder. Well, he went bridge with Jamie Drysdale, bridge with Trevor Zegras. They're both in Philadelphia now. So that takes some time. If McTavish needs to know what his role is with Joel Quenneville, and he needs to be there in camp. Again, not sold on the fact that if it was a long-term deal the Ducks want, it would have been, it should be done by now. It should be. Pat Verbeek's from the Steve Yzerman school. Got to get a bridge deal, then pay him. That's what he did in Tampa all those years with those guys. So that's something to watch out in Anaheim as well. Adrian Kempe, Jack Eichel, Kyle Connor, those are the next kind of groups behind McDavid and Kaprizov. Eichel seems like the most reasonable guy to get a deal done. In return, probably going to get 13.5 from the Vegas Golden Knights. That should be done relatively quickly in terms of getting a deal done, pen to paper. Both sides, not really an issue there. We know Marner signed for 12, but again, the cap is going to be an issue. But Pietrangelo probably not playing this season for them, so that's huge. Adrian Kempe, Kyle Connor. Again, which one breaks first? Sounds like Kempe from being on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio that he's going to take his time, but he doesn't want it to linger to the trade deadline because there's so many uncertainties if he isn't signed. But he wants $10 million. What does that mean for Kyle Connor and the Winnipeg Jets? Will probably be more money for Kyle Connor and the Winnipeg Jets. 10-5. He's a goal scorer. So a lot of guys tied together with this UFA class of 2026, all these guys eligible for extensions. They haven't signed their extension yet. It's going to be interesting to see what the Kings do with Kempe moving forward. But big news today here, Media Tour, Kirill Kaprizov, he does not, and he is not signed by Minnesota Wild. He turns down a big, massive contract extension, 8 years times $16 million for $128 million. So we'll keep an eye on Minnesota. Again, relax out there in Western Canada, in Edmonton, and in Calgary, and in Vancouver. And we'll see what happens in New Jersey with Luke Hughes. Deadlines make deals, everybody. Jim Biringer, Full Press NHL. Guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment below. Take care, and we'll be back again real soon.
Full Press Hockey Coverage with Jim Biringer.